Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drake Queen Gaming and Semi Mounts Word of the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Beasts of the Thorns. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. But Hess, you don't have to worry. No matter how alone you are on that day, you have my chocolate. That is definitely a sentence. I'm not gonna take the chocolates you receive from the girls. You throw me all the chocolates you can't finish every time, and you ever think about my feelings. Chris, you think so too, don't you? You're underestimating our Chris. He gets no less chocolates on Valentine's Day than I do, even from the boys. Everyone is just thanking me for my usual care. Don't think too much of it. Indeed, Chris, who likes to take care of his friends, couldn't have not received chocolates. I was wrong about you, Chris, you traitor. Chris looked at me sadly, worried that I was angry, even though he knew I was joking. It would be nice for this trend to spread beyond the borders. I kinda like chocolate. I'm not willing to continue this pathetic conversation, forcefully change the subject. So, Twin Tree King Festival it is. Though the Outer Realms demons enjoy celebrations, the two solstices of the year are the grandest. One of those solstice festivals is Festival of the Twin Tree King. It is rumored that on this day, the two forest kings will exchange power, so there will be a great celebration. What a strange festival. The King of Oak Crowns, symbolizing prosperity and abundance, would hand over the scepter of the season on the winter solstice to the King of Holly Crowns, symbolizing death and new life, symbolizing the beginning and the end of the year. We'll elect two nobles to play the oak and holly crowns for the change of seasons, then there'll be 5 days of parades, festivities, singing, dancing, and theater, and we'll reunite with family and friends and eat and drink. And just like the New Year. That conclusion is too hasty. No, New Year's is another celebration. We have the Lunar New Year as well as the Solar New Year, based on either the lunar calendar or the solar calendar. That's too many celebrations. I really can't help but spit. Ostrom puffed out his chest smugly. Welcome to the Outer Realms. Chris watched me spit with amusement, and Amore's grin was uncontrollable, as if he were a child discovering candy. He loves the festive atmosphere. It defies science to know how two conflicting traits can exist at the same time when he's a video game nerd who loves to go out and participate in events. I'm not a big fan of festivals. I always feel lonely at festivals. But Chris was always kind enough to invite me to spend the holidays with him, and then Amore came into our lives, and that's how I was able to enjoy the holidays a little bit, and I'm grateful for that. But Valentine's Day? Forget it. Though magical creatures are fond of celebrations, different groups have their own celebrations, which can sometimes cause quite a bit of disruption. For example, more than half the Student Council's ferret department officers have been on vacation during the recent busy time, making it impossible for me to even eat properly lately. I'm starting to wonder if I should choose fewer skunks the next time the Student Council appoints officers. But skunks are meticulous and conscientious, and despite their tiny paws, they can take care of paperwork very quickly. I still think you should trust your officers and delegate the work to them. Maybe you can hand over the Fraternity to Darwin for now. Of course I trust him. We're old friends. It's just that for me to do an hour's work, he'd have to grind it out for 3 days, and it's more efficient for me to do it, so of course it makes the most sense for me to handle it. I have no words for the blind spot or the too competent. Once I set up the accounting system, we won't need accounting officers in our student council anymore. Until then, I'll just have to endure a bit of extra work. Are you trying to automate the entire student council? Of course, it's the most efficient way. It would allow me to support the student council all by myself. I'm pretty sure the purpose of student councils is to help students learn self-governance, social skills, and cooperation, rather than implementing automated systems that computers handle. Students wouldn't learn anything that way. I'm starting to think maybe the ferret demons couldn't stand Ostrom, so they took a long vacation. Chris sensed my stirring under the helmet and looked at me nervously, afraid I might say something inappropriate. He's always trying to make everyone happy, and he's very concerned about the harmony of the group, so he's nervous that I might be going head-to-head with Ostrom. Honestly, I'm still upset that Ostrom used Nud to lure Chris away, but Chris needs Ostrom's help, and the big wolves are very attentive to us, so it's just something I've been muttering about at best. After all, I'm not such an insensitive guy. but I still have a hard time liking Ostrom. First impressions suck. While I was thinking this, we had to come to the edge of the forest. The noonday sunlight washed away the darkness of the morning, and the forest showed a verdant hue on the lighted side, and there was a faint chirping sound, as if birds were moving about. You haven't been in the forest yet, have you? This is our hunting ground, the Forest of the Thorns. With that, he pushed through the trees, and a path opened up before him. It appears to be the Ostrom specialized animal path. That's interesting. It's starting to feel like an adventure. However, within a few steps, I immediately realized why this forest is called the Forest of Thorns. Hooks, nettles, blackthorns, and wolfberries. This place is filled with thorny plants, all in bloom and bearing plump fruits. Amore plucked a blackberry and popped it into his mouth with an expression of enjoyment. These plants are quite a nuisance, however, with their barbed spikes growing at will, but fortunately Ostrom chose a fairly wide path, or our clothes have been ended up in a rather miserable state. This forest is so strange. What's so strange about it? Amore chewed on various berries and gathered his hands full of berries, as if he were holding some kind of treasure and holding it carefully. Chris took a few red fruits from his hands. The harvest season for these burrs has passed 2 months ago, and as for this blackberry, yes, it's an unripe blackberry, Amore. You shouldn't eat it. These blackberries should only flower next month. Amore sniffed and spat out the bright red fruit that he had put in his mouth. And quite a few of the plants here are sun-loving plants that shouldn't flourish so well under dense shade. Looks like you're familiar with plants. Ostrom praised it. Chris is studying life sciences on the human side. I know, but life sciences covers a wide range of areas, including agriculture, animal husbandry, bioengineering, medical technology, and so on. And you specialize in plant research? I'm on the human side of a project to study the genetic improvement of the prickly fenugreek, a super plant that is highly nutritious, resistant to pests and diseases, and can be planted in poor soils and easily cultivated. It helps to solve the problem of malnutrition of people in poor countries, but it seems that there is no such plant in the outer world. Poor nutrition. It seems not every human has it easy either. Ostrom seemed a little emotional. I was taught from a young age that the nobles are the alpha of the pack, the claws and teeth of the weak, and that we lead as well as protect, but as time passed, the nobles gradually relaxed their obligations. After all, the outer realms face difficulties that cannot be solved with claws and teeth. The same goes for humans, but I believe that as long as everyone does their best, they may be able to bring about some changes to humans or demons. Any small change can add up to make the world a better place. Ostrom nodded in approval. Not bad for a son of Nud, great ambition, and I'm sure we'll talk a lot. Chris seemed excited by the title Son of Nud, with a swish of his bushy tail. Too defenseless, I muttered in dissatisfaction. Chris is friendly with everyone, even when he's hurt. I've warned him a few times, but he always responds with a smile and disdain. It's obvious that honest people suffer the most. I can't figure out why his upbringing nurtured this kind of character. He's friendly to everyone. Friendly enough to make me feel a little bad sometimes. Ostrom seemed to have Chris's attention, and the two of them began to talk about the special features of the Biennia woods. Biennia. That's not all there is to this forest. What else do you think there is? I looked around, and there was something weird, but I couldn't put my finger on it. There's only one kind of bird here. I've only heard one bird so far. I froze. He was right. Not only that, but there's only one creature sound here, and it's that bird song. Ostrom nodded approvingly. Okay. That's right. Even though it's just a stone's throw away from the academy, the ecosystem here is completely independent. Why is that? The unique ecosystem of this place piqued Chris's curiosity. He was deep in thought, talking to himself. Professors have researched it before, but there's been no conclusion. It's speculated that it might be due to the influence of the thorn birds. After all, they're creations of the dragons. Faced with such extraordinary beings, the intelligence of monsters is hard to match. Oh, lordy. Okay. So, the forest belongs to the academy? Though on campus grounds, it is actually Professor Nicholas's private property and is only open for the fraternity use. The general student body is not allowed to enter. I looked around at the beauty and the abundance of berries. they've missed a lot. After all, the fraternity is the cream of the crop among the college societies, holding the highest status. Naturally, they enjoy corresponding privileges. However, pies don't just fall from the sky. You still have to strive for them yourself. As long as you're willing to strive, all of these can be yours. But it's true that although we've had a significant increase in enrollment over the past 2 years, we've had negative growth in real membership. Why is that? Who knows? It's one of the fraternity's many mysteries. I recall what Lucas mentioned yesterday, that although many monsters joined the fraternity out of admiration for Ostrom, more left because they couldn't keep up with the Great Wolf's pace. Ostrom seems unaware of this. He perceives his feats as merely ordinary, thus urging fraternity members to climb to the same heights as him. Though he means no harm, it does indeed crush spirits. No wonder Lucas describes Ostrom's positivity as toxic soup for the soul. To outsiders, any encouragement from the effortless accomplishments of accomplished Great Wolf sounds like mockery. I can only hear Ostrom continuing to encourage his younger brothers with optimism. Fraternity is a strengths-based organization, so if you put in the work, you'll get what you pay for. We have status and prestige on campus, as well as a variety of benefits. The results of our hunts are returned to the hunters in the form of rewards, and hunters who excel in their hunts can apply for additional scholarships. In addition, they are given priority and discounts on all facilities at the academy. If you do well on a hunt, you will get noticed socially, which can be very helpful in getting future recommendations. Especially Chris, the first hunt is important for you. Ostrom looked at Chris meaningfully. So there are all kinds of benefits in an ecosystem-independent forest. An independent ecosystem in a thorny forest. The Forest of Thorns is our fraternity's exclusive hunting ground, and not only do we have free access to it, but we also have the privilege of harvesting the forest's produce, including berries, herbs, mushrooms, and prey. Ostrom smiled as he plucked a large bunch of elderberries beside him and handed them to me, the prickly tips of the leaves scratching the skin of my palms, the fragrant scent of the fruit spreading through my hands. But as everyone can see, the Thornwood Forest lives up to its name, with an abundance of thorny plants, so unless there's something specific going on, fraternity members don't venture into the forest. Though our fur is resistant to these thorns, our clothing is not, so we are accustomed to wearing the bare minimum of clothing when we hunt. The road I chose today is wide enough not to worry about thorns, but when we start hunting, not every road is so safe. I can't resist these spikes with or without my clothes. My delicate skin is a weakness in this hunting ground. Alright, y'all, I'm actually going to pause it right there. It's late, and I am tired from work. 2 edibles working their way through my system. Alright, I love you, wonderful, awesome audience members. Y'all don't forget to check out our Patreon. It really helps us, and donate via YouTube if you can. That also helps. Anyway, super chat, I think is what it's called. Yeah, super chat or something like that. Anyway, I love you all, and I shall see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!